Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. As we read in English, we are going to be practicing how to read, and our reading is going to be focused on culture. As you guys know, we have been doing this particular series of reading based on culture. And at this time, I want to say hello to everyone who is viewing us at this time. Thank you so much for reading with us here on Read English 101. And remember, here we learn how to read English using foundational steps. And these steps, they will eventually help us to get to that place where our English is very much refined or our English is very good. And I'm sure that's where you want to be. You want to reach that stage where your English has improved so much that you can read at a very comfortable pace, and also that you are able to understand what you're reading. So remember, we practice vocabulary here too, and that would help a lot with your understanding, your comprehension. So let's get ready to read. Guys, how are you doing today? And where are you viewing from? Please let us know where you're viewing from. And be sure to share the live with someone who may be interested in learning how to read English, and not just learning how to read English, but learning ways to decode English, whether we decode using syllables or we decode using phonics, or we can sometimes decode depending on the word, like using suffixes and prefixes, which would help us to understand the meaning of the word and to be very clear with that always. So, guys, we're going to get into the reading at this point. And before we get into the reading, at this point, we want to say hello to a few persons. So, let's go right ahead and say hello to those important set of people. And these persons, they are our new subscribers. And we really want to thank them for being here on the channel, for reading with us. It is certainly a pleasure to have you reading with us always. So, one of the first persons that I would say hello to is Guppy. So Guppy is one of our newest subscribers. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel, Guppy Vlogs. And you guys can be sure to follow Guppy Vlogs. Also, let's say hello to Abe Borrow. Abe Barrow. Abe Barrow. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. And let's say hello to Hermie Chan. Hello, Homie Chan. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. And you guys, I hope that your practice with English is really refining and you are finding it something very easy to do these days. All right, guys, so without further ado, we are going to begin to read English. And remember, yeah, where we read English on Read English 101, we focus a lot on foundational steps to reading. So this can help you. It doesn't matter how old you are or how young you are, there is something for everyone to learn, whether it is for you to improve your English spelling, your vocabulary, your comprehension, your pronunciation, whatever it is, guys, you can certainly improve something. And for that, we look forward to that time um, of you improving in whatever area you would improving. So our English short story today, this is a continuation from what we were doing earlier, and this is where we are going to be reading an English short story, and this story is based on the perspective of Eastern um, natives and Western natives, and it is based on their cultures, and these cultures are going to be cultures from the eastern and from the western side of the world, and it is this perspective of students who are studying abroad, and these students, they are actually studying abroad on a cultural exchange program, and we have talked a bit about that today. So without further ado, guys, the link is in the comment section. If you guys want to come on screen to read with me, I would love that. Let me also say hello to Sassy. Sassy has been one of our longtime viewers here on the channel. We have not seen her for a while. She's from India. Let's say hello to Sassy. So, Sassy, hope that all is well and hope that we can see you soon again. You know, we appreciate your presence here always. All right, guys, so let's get into our reading for today. And our first word that we are going to be decoding, guys, is this word, an. So we see a, n, an, and then as you see, the letters are reversed. So then we say n, a, na. So our word is an, na, Anna, Anna. And this is a very common English name, Anna. And this name is often given to a child in English. Our next word is A and R together, R. Then we hear the I makes the sound I, because E is at the end, silent. And remember, when the E is at the end silent, most times the vowel that comes before would call its name. In this case, we hear the vowel say its name, which is I. The V makes the sound V. We put it all together. We hear A and A. Then we hear R, R, I've, arrive. Also, what we can do, we can say IVE says I've, or in some cases, it can say if. So you can know those two songs for IVE, and that would make it very easy for you to call the word. So what you can do, you can sound it out and you can say are, I've. Then you can say are, if. And then you can ask yourself, which of these words have I heard before? Have I heard arrive or have I heard arrive? And then you, based on the context, can easily pick up what the word is. All right. So that's one way you can approach it in order to get the correct pronunciation for the word. So a word is arrive. Now let's add the ed sound because we can hear the v sound at the end of the word. Whenever you can hear the sound, once the sound is not a d or t sound, then the ed would make a song that says d. So our word is arrived, arrived, arrived. What does it mean to arrive somewhere? When you arrive at a place or a destination, it simply means that you get there. All right? It simply means that you reach to that place or you get to that place, or we can say that you appear at the place, or you have turned up, or you have entered the place, or you have showed up. Any one of those can be used. So that's our word, arrived. It's a word that you can practice to master calling by whole word. Then our next word, ch. We hear the I makes a long song. That's where the I call its name. So we hear ch, I, and then we hear n, a, na. Just like in the name Anna, we heard n, a, na. All right, so let's put the whole word together. We hear ch, I, chai, n, a, China, China. And what is China? China is a place, it's a very big city. And we have heard of Hong Kong being a part of China. And we have heard a lot about China lately, uh, about China's development in terms of different things. China is so common in the news these days, in terms of its leadership and not only its leadership, but we hear a lot about its defense force in terms of its army and, practicing and their drills and all these things. We hear a lot too about different policies that are taking place in China. So there are so many things that we hear about in the news with regards to China. Our next word we hear st. R makes the sound r. We put all three together to make the song str. Then we hear a, short sound, and then C and K together. Whenever C and K is together, because they make one sound, they are the same sound, then we would hear k only one time. So the word is str up, str up, struck, struck. When something is being struck, it means that that thing has been hit, right? Or that there's a bang, or that something has ponged something. Most of the time, this is something that is deliberate or something that is that has happened by force, and this can be with a weapon, or it can even be with your hand that you would struck something, or even with your feet. And struck is actually the past tense for the word strike. It's the past tense for the word strike. So there we have just learned a lot in one. We've learned some grammar and we've learned our phonics, how to decode the word, and we have also learned the vocabulary. Our next word, we hear the word r, e, then we hear s, sp, and then we hear e, k, and t. So our word is, let's put it all together, r, e, re, and then we hear sp, and then ect, respect. So our word is respect, respect. Okay, so always remember the song for the E there. That song is not the full E sound depending on where you're speaking the language from, right? In some cases, you would hear respect. In some cases, you hear respect. So you hear a sound more for the E there. So you hear e spec, respect, or you hear a spec, respect. What does it mean to respect someone? So to respect someone, and that's the thing that we find that is really going out the window these days. in our society, you have found that a lot of persons they do not really practice to respect others. However, when you respect someone, it means that you actually have that person in high regard, or that you have a deep feeling of admiration or deep feeling of love or affection, or you esteem that person to that level where you would be able to really show that person that you care about them. And in that sense, you would ensure that you always consider their feelings, or consider other things that comes with them, in terms of being very thoughtful, you know, about how they would feel if you would do something. And also in being respectful, or in having respect, you would be very polite to the person. So of course you would always make consideration, or be attentive to what that person cares about, or what that person would really uphold, so that you can do the same. Our next word, let's see, guys. I'm losing some touch with this pencil. Our next word, then we hear I, the I makes a long I song, just like in China. So we hear I, then we hear n, the e's at the end silent, and because the e's at the end silent, this e here would make the long e sound. So we hear e, so we hear chai, n, e, and then the s makes a sound like z. So whenever s comes before e, I, or y, a lot of the times it makes a sound like z. So we hear z. So the word is I, n, is Chinese. And what is, or who is, yeah, we should say who is a Chinese? All right. I know a lot of times when we think of Chinese, in many cases, persons would think of the language, and they would say, oh, that person is speaking in Chinese, right? The Mandarin language, they would call it Chinese. However, Mandarin, I think that that is being used in other countries too, right? So, yes, Chinese actually relates to the language, but it's not only just the language, it also appeals to the culture, or to the people. So, we should take all that into consideration, that when we're talking about Chinese, it's not just the language, okay? It's the language, the culture, and the people of China that we would refer to as Chinese. All right, guys. And if we have any Chinese here, welcome. You're welcome here. Thank you so much for being here. If you hope to join at a later time, and you join us at a later time, we appreciate you being here if you are from China. All right. And like I said today, that China is a place I would really love to visit one day. Honestly, I hope to visit China. How about you? Have you been to China before, or is it one of your dream places? Yeah. So one day, um, if the Lord permits, I'm hoping to go to China. I'm hoping to explore the Great Wall of China, and I am hoping to visit places like Hong Kong and other places. I'm hoping to eat those big, fat, what we would call dumplings uh, in the Caribbean and other places. And they call them, I can't remember what is the name for them. I think they do call them wonton dumplings or something like that. I'm hoping to eat that. I'm hoping to eat some of the street food. Well, not eat per se, but to taste. Cuisine is a thing that I have always enjoy tasting in traveling, and that's something that I would really love to do. Again, to taste the cuisine of other countries. So yes, I would really love to taste the cuisine of China, and I would definitely love to, mix and mingle with the people of the land. You know, yeah. So let's get to our next word, guys. And guys, don't forget to say hello in the comment section. It's always good to hear from you. And you can be a part of this live by just clicking the link in the comment section. However, you have to let me know if you want to come up on screen first by typing that in the comment section so I can allow you to come up on screen. Okay. And you can practice reading with me. That would be so cool. All right, let's go to our next word. And our next word is this word. So we have ku, CNL together, a, and then we have two S making the same sound. In English, whenever two letters make the same sound, you only make one sound. That is actually called the floss method in reading. So that's something that you can check out if you are interested. And here we can see the small word as, as. So the word is class, class. So you can either call the word by sounding out all of the songs, or you can learn the word as. So you just add the CL sound to it. You add cl and as, class, and you have the word class. If you learn this part as, then you would learn other words easily, like the word glass, because all you do is change the beginning sound to G and you have glass, right? You learn words like mass and pass and all those words. So that is the rhyme in English that you should learn that will make reading easy for you. All right, guys. Okay, well, let's keep going. How are we doing so far? I'm sure that we're doing good. Our next word, a, because the e at the end is silent, and this is something that we've been practicing all day. When the e's at the end silent, we most times hear the vowel call its name. In this case, the vowel is a, so we hear a. So the word is it, mate, mate. And then once we have the word classmate, we have the word class and mate. Let's add the S sound now to make it more than one. So now we'll say classmates, classmates. So first we have class as in a word by itself, and class by itself is actually like a room, or we can put it to really group the students in itself. So we can say that when we class something, we are actually putting like a grade to it or a rating, or we are putting it in a category. So the class would actually be how we put the students in order in within our schools or university or our learning centers, how we categorize them or how we group them, right? And this would be the standard would actually be by age that we would preferably group our students. So the word mate, let's look at what the word mate means. And remember, we are learning how to decode the words because that's one of the things that we want to be able to do very well so that we can learn a lot of English words from just learning how to decode. So a mate is actually like a partner or a fellow member. And so in this sense, when we put classmate together, it means that the classmate will actually be someone who is your um, fellow mate within the class or someone who is in the same class as you are. That person is a person that you would call your classmate. So someone who is a member of your classroom, you would call them your classmates. I find that sometimes some of us we would refer to persons who were in school at the same time that we were in school as our classmates, even if they are not in the same grouping as we are. So let's say, for example, you are in grade 2 and there's someone in grade 5, and you'll say that that person is your classmate. The fact is that person is not your classmate, right? Because your classmates should be in the same group that you are in. Although you're in the same school, you have your different groupings, and your classmates should be in that same grouping, whether it's by age, whether it's by surname, whatever categories used to group you, whether it's by your intellectual being in terms of your IQ, all those stuff that you're being put in the class, you should be able to um, know that there's a difference in somebody being in a different grouping than you are, not to call that person your classmate. Sometimes I find it very weird that people would do that, but it happens, right? You, especially older persons, you would hear them say that, okay, someone was one of their classmates, but however, they would say, oh, but that person was in a lower class or that person was in a higher class. And you try to, figure it out in your head. So, how does that person become your classmate? And then it makes you laugh. I don't know about you guys, but for me, it makes me laugh. Yeah. So, you should let me know if I'm, just being mischievous or if it's cool to laugh at it. All right, guys, let's keep going. So, our next word, we hear T and H make the sound D, and we hear the EIR makes the sound air, just like ERE makes the sound air, and so does EAR, and so does AIR make the sound air. So, our word there is D, air, there. And this there is like when you have a group of persons and you're not a part of it, then you would refer to them as dear. Okay. A lot of times it's used to show ownership for things, and it's used in their subject and also in their object pronoun. Our next word we hear to, e. So the A is silent, the E makes a sound. We hear the E make a long song calling its name E, and this word is T. If you never knew that word in English, it's T. Then we hear the CH make the sound ch, and then the ER says So our word is T, ch, teacher, teacher. If you pronouncing this based on the American Standard of English, then you say teacher. If you're pronouncing based on the European British English, then you'll say teacher. Because the ER makes a song like a schwa song where we hear for those of you who are using British English, while the Americans, they tend to roll their sound. And then we are going to add the S to make it more than one. So we hear teachers, teachers, teachers. All right. So whenever you have teacher, that's one. Teachers, more than one. All right, guys, we are getting somewhere. So let's read those sentences, and then we have two more sentences to go. And at this point, we are going to make it earlier than the hour to finish, hopefully. So let's go ahead and let's read our words. Anna, Anna, arrived, arrived. China, China, struck, struck, respect, respect, Chinese, Chinese, classmates, classmates, teachers, teachers, teachers. All right, guys, if you were able to call the words, then you did an awesome job. Let's go ahead now and let's practice reading. So we're going to read from the top, okay? Let's just practice this, how to read through our text from the top. Are you ready, guys? I'm ready. Let's go. When Anna arrived in China, she was struck by the respect her Chinese classmates had for their teachers. Let's read it one more time. Guys, I'm so sorry. I find these days my voice, let's just pause the screen for a while. I find these days my voice, uh, I don't know what's happening to my voice these days, but what I can tell you is that at times it feels really um, as though my voice is not clicking too well uh, sometimes. But, you know, I think it's something that uh, maybe happens here and there. It's not something that is really like permanent. So for that, I give God thanks that, it just happens at times. But that's okay. Let's keep going because we're going to be finished within the time that we want to finish for. Okay. So let's get it together. All right. So let's read it one more time now. Now that you've had a little break. And then we're going to begin the other two lines and then we'll stop there for today. Let's go ahead and let's read. When Anna arrived in China, she was struck by the respect her Chinese classmates had for their teachers. One more time. When Anna arrived in China, she was struck by the respect her Chinese classmates had for their teachers. And guys, that tells us a lot. From this text, what we can see here is that in China, the students, they are really respectful. In China, they don't necessarily have a choice when it comes to discipline or to be respectful. It is something that is expected, and because it's expected, they show it out. Once you get to school, you just have to display the right attitude, which should be a positive one for learning. And once you have a positive attitude for learning, this would really be one where teachers are able to manage you, as in the whole class, everyone within the class. Teachers are able to give you instructions and you're able to follow them, and you don't have to get into any problems with your teachers. Also, you do not give your teachers words or exchange words with your teachers, like saying things to them whenever they say things to you. You just basically follow their rules because they are the ones that are in authority. So the kind of leadership that teachers have there, I can imagine that it is leadership that really would always remind students that discipline is very important. And therefore, and then these students, they will be able to really keep up with the discipline there. All right, let's see now what happens in America on the other hand. So we have a compound word, the E, just like in teachers, we hear the E say E. The A is silent, it's the same thing in this word me, and then we hear n. So this word is mean, mean. All right, mean. And when you use mean by itself to say that someone has been mean to you or someone is being mean, that would simply mean that that person is not being too nice at all. That that person is not showing that they are humble. It would mean that that person may sometimes be saying things to you that you don't appreciate. So they may say things that are offensive, or they may act a bit selfish, or they may show that they don't really care about your thoughts or your ideas. And so you'll be able to call that person a mean person. And sometimes people who are mean, they would generally show like violent behaviors and these things. All right, our next word, WH together. The W make the sound, so we hear W. The H is silent. However, W and H can make the sound where the H stays silent and W make the sound. So we hear W. This is the same rule like in the word mate, where the E at the end is silent, and most times the vowel that comes before would call its name. So in this case, we hear the vowel I, say, I. So we hear W, I'll, while. Remember, the E at the end is silent. So the word is while. So together, the word is meanwhile. Meanwhile. When you use the word meanwhile, what do we really use it to refer to? So meanwhile is a word that we use as a transition word, and this is actually an adverb, right? And meanwhile actually means for a period of time, right? So in the within the moment, or for the present time, or we can say for the time being, or temporarily, any one of those we can use to say meanwhile, or like in the meantime. Yeah. Meanwhile, so the word is meanwhile. And then our next word, we, when you own, our, sorry. So we have our, then N and D, we put it together to make a consonant blend at the end. So we hear nd. So our word is found, 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 found. And when you use the word found, found is actually the past tense for the word find. So found is the past tense for the word find, and found is actually like when you discover something by chance, or when you unexpectedly um, come up on something or encounter something, then you would say that you found something. Or we can also use found in another way. When we are talking about something that is based on belief or claims or ideas, um, we can use found like that too. Our next word, we have am. The E makes the sound E. Then we hear R. The I makes the sound E. And then we see K. And then we have an. So our word is, or we can put INC together to say ik. So we can say Americ and can, and American. Or we can put the CAN together to say can, and we can say am, r, Ameri, and can, American. So you can divide it in whatever portion you wish to. That makes it easier for you to remember how to call the word. All right, guys. An American now is somebody who is native to America. So they were born or raised in America. Then you would call them an American. And most of the times that would be North America, because South America, um, you don't refer to South Americans as American like that. So it would have to be North America in order for persons to, really have that respect for you to say that you are an American. Um, I don't know why, but that's what happens. You don't hear others calling someone from South America or from those, yeah, you don't hear somebody would say American. It's weird, but despite the weirdness of it, it's something that is very much true. Guys, it's something that is true. A lot of things are weird, but it's true. All right, let's keep going now. Our next word. So we found the word here again. Here the word is again. This word. We saw this word, part of the word up there. Before we saw ku, CNL, and the A, and the S, class. Remember, we said that the ASS can be as, and this would help you to learn a lot of English words if you learn that rhyme as. So the word is class, and then we hear r, two O's together, we hear oo, So we hear class, and then r, room. Our word is room, classroom. Now let's add the S sounds. So we hear classrooms, classrooms. So in adding the S, we are making it more than one. Classrooms. What are classrooms? I'm sure you have been in a classroom before. Everyone, well, whether you are homeschooled or not, you have had a classroom before. Because if you are homeschooled, you would have a room where you would do your schoolwork, and that would be your classroom. So, a classroom is actually a room where you have students, or you have learners, or you have people who are being taught, or people who are trying to gain new knowledge. You have them within that space. So, that you would call it a classroom. Sorry, guys. Our next word is the word. We have two more words to go. We have two more words to go. No, three. Three more words to go, guys. Then we are close to done. So our next word, we have b. The O makes a long song, so we hear O. And tongue between our teeth, we hear both. Both. Tongue between your teeth for the TH. Remember, TH can make two different sounds. It can say D and it can say th. So we hear b, both, both. In this case, this boat is not like a boat on the sea. This boat is when you're referring to two things, you would say boat, okay? If you're talking about two things and you want to put those two things together to maybe show some similarities or you're trying to show some likeness or whatever it is, then you'd say both. Our next word, we hear X, X, and remember the section of the word that says X. X actually means former or it means past. And then when C comes before E, I or Y, it makes a song like S most times, not always, but most times. So we hear X. Then we hear the I make a long song to say I, because normally the word excite would spell with an E. So we have excite. Normally it would end with the E. However, when we are making it into a noun, into a verb that has continuous tense, then we would change the E to I, or we'll drop the E and we'll add ing. So our word is excite, and then ing together says ing. The I makes the sound I, and the energy says ng. So together we hear ing, ing. So the word is excite and ing. Exciting, exciting. What does it mean for something to be exciting? Then that thing has to be something that is, of course, one that makes you happy, or it is something that we find, let's find another word for exciting. There are so many words that can mean the same as exciting. Something that is enthusiastic, we can say that that is exciting. Something that thrills us, we can say that that is exciting too. Something that is accelerated, we can say that that thing is exciting. Okay. So when we are enthusiastic, we are excited. When we are eager, we are excited. And our final word is, we hear the O says O, V, and the ER says Put it together, we hear ov, over. So that's a small word that you would commonly learn by grade 1. You should be able to call that word over. And then we hear W. The W make the sound, the H stays silent for WH, W. And then we hear L, and then we hear M. So the word is whelm. So whelm. And we put it together, we hear overwhelm, overwhelm. And then we add ing, just like we did for exciting. And remember, ing, the I says I, and the energy together says ng. Put it all together, we have ing, ing. So our word there is overwhelming, overwhelming. Our word is overwhelming. And I know that these days, sometimes we can feel very overwhelmed, right? Or our task is overwhelming. So let's try to see if we can figure out what the word is in me using it in that way. So when something is overwhelming, or when you find something has overwhelmed you, then it means that this thing is something that you find very difficult to handle. Um, it is something that has actually more or less I should say, I don't want to say bury you, but you can almost use that word that it buries you. Um, so we can even use the word drunk. It drowns you, right? So anything that is overwhelming is something that is actually gonna have you feeling down or feeling overburdened, right? So you're gonna feel as though you're defeated. When you feel overwhelmed, you would feel like you're defeated. So it is something that uses like a lot of force and it keeps you under pressure more or less. That's what you would call overwhelming. All right. So guys, we have learned the vocabulary for all these words and we have also learned how to call the words. And because we've done that, now we're going to be practicing how to read through the whole text and then we're going to stop there for today. We're going to try to make it on the hour, guys. We have just a few more minutes to go. So we're going to read this part here, our second sentence, and then we're going to be reading from the top. And we'll have a minute or two to free talk if you guys wish to free talk on anything that we have covered here. Remember, if you join at a later date and there's something that you wish to free talk on, you can always comment in the comment section. Let us know what that is, and we can, you know, find a time to free talk with you guys. So, guys, let's go ahead and let's read our text. We're reading our second sentence. Meanwhile, we found American classrooms to be both exciting and overwhelming. All right, so we just read that part. Now we are going to read it from the top so we can understand what is happening in the story or in the text. So let's do that. Let's go ahead and read from the top. And to read, I'll use a highlighter so we can all see what we're reading carefully. Remember our words as we go through. When Anna arrived in China, she was struck by the respect her Chinese classmates had for their teachers. Meanwhile, we found American classrooms to be both exciting and overwhelming. All right, guys, how do you feel about those words that we just read a while ago? Let's be sure to pronounce the words that we had difficulty calling, those that we should really learn. Anna, Anna. And we said Anna is a popular English name and it's a name that is given to girls. Arrived, arrived. And we said when you arrive somewhere, it means that you reach to that place or you get to that place or you enter that place or you come to that place. China, China. And we said China, it is a big country. And we spoke about China being one of the headlines a lot on the news um, lately. Our next word, struck, struck. We said when something is being struck, it means that that thing was hit or that thing received a bang. We would say that it was struck, and struck is the past tense for the word strike. And when something is being struck, it could be struck by hand, lashing it, or hitting it, or beating it, or by your feet, and it can also be by an object. Our next word, respect. Respect. Respect is where you are very thoughtful towards the feeling of others, or you think of others in high regard, or you have great love or admiration for others. And so you are able to consider how they feel in any given position. And so you're able to in a way that would please them rather than a way that would displease them. Our next word, Chinese. Chinese. And we said that Chinese does not only relate to the language, but to the people and also to the culture of China. Chinese. And as you see, we have broken down these words using phonics. So if you want to hear further parts, you can go back and you can actually read those words using the phonics, which would help you to understand how to break down the words to call them. Classmates, classmates. And we said classmates are people who are together in a set classroom for instruction, for learning instructions. So these persons, they can be grouped by age. They can be grouped sometimes by their intelligence or by their IQ. They can also be grouped by surnames. In different places, students are grouped in different ways. So this is something that we can not put one set standard towards. Our next word, there, there, and there here, we said that this represents people, a group of people of which we are not a part. We would say there. Our next word, teachers, teachers, teachers here. This is more than one person that is actually giving instructions or is helping a class or a group of persons or learners to learn something new. And this person, you would call them a teacher. When it's more than one, you'll say teachers. Our next word, meanwhile, meanwhile. And we said that meanwhile means in the moment. Sorry, guys, I didn't notice that my battery had already passed out. But we're going to continue. So, an American is actually someone who is a native of America. All right. So, if someone is a native of America, they were born there or um, they are citizens there, then you would call them an American. Okay. So, our next word, guys, is classroom. Classroom. Sorry, classrooms. There's a S on it. Classroom is one, classrooms more than one. A classroom is a place where learners or um, pupils or students are, and this is where they would take instructions. Our next word, both, both, and both here speaks about two things, and that's when you're joining those two things together, talking about them together. Like, for example, you are making a um, comparison to talk about their similarities, how similar they are or alike. You can use the word both. Our next word, exciting. Exciting. And when you're excited, it means that you are enthusiastic, you are eager, you are thrilled, or you're having an exhilarating time. All these words can mean the same as exciting. And our final word, overwhelming. Overwhelming. We said anything that is overwhelming would be something that would have you under pressure, something that would basically have you in a position where you are forcing to do something or where you feel burdened, then you would say that it is overwhelming. All right. So, what have you done lately that felt overwhelming as though it was an overwhelming task? Is there anything that you've done lately where you found it was really overwhelming? Guys, I'm sure there are things you've done that makes you feel as though that task is too much, it's too hard. And what are some of those things? Hmm, I know that you can talk about a lot of things like that. All right, guys, so we're done with all this reading. And remember, we're practicing how to read in English. And, being here at Reader 101, where we can read English, is always exciting, as in, it helps you to really take words from the very um, foundational stage in terms of the very basic stage up to the harder or more difficult stage. And with that, you get to understand how to call words easier and build your vocabulary and also improve your pronunciations and all that good stuff. So now we are going to be reading through our text, and after we finish reading through our text 2 times, then we're going to stop there for today. If you want to talk about any of these situations, then feel free. Let's talk. So let's go ahead and read through. When Anna arrived in China, she was struck by the respect her Chinese classmates had for their teachers. Meanwhile, we found American classrooms to be both exciting and overwhelming. Wow. I wonder why. Why do you think that is so? So let's read it one more time. Let's gain some context. Let's read it one more time. When Anna arrived in China, she was struck by the respect her Chinese classmates had for their teachers. Meanwhile, we found American classrooms to be both exciting and overwhelming. Guys, do you think that these statements are true, or do you think they're not true? Do you think that in China, the students they respect their teachers like to a level that is very high? And do you think that in America, classrooms they are exciting, but yet they are overwhelming, as in the students they face a lot of pressure in terms of learning. Some of them they feel as though like they're drowning or like if they are beneath a rock on a hard place, or as though they are being forced in order to get their work done. Do you agree? Guys, you can comment in the comment section and let us know. For me, definitely, I would say that in China, from what I have observed online, I've never been to China. I think that the classrooms, the students are well disciplined. If they behave ill discipline at home, then that would be another thing. But I think when it comes to school, their school standards are placed in such a way where children, through the activities that they even practice or do at school, you can see the discipline that these children have, and not just what they have, but what is instilled in them, or what they are practicing to really achieve. Because, for example, sometimes you watch videos and you see these children like they're doing drills, and you can see each child is very much on point with the drill. It's as much as some sort of army or navy training that they're doing. The way that they have their positions right, the way that their technique is truly refined, all that you can really, really spot and say, their discipline gotta be a top tier type of discipline in order for the students to be so skilled in what they do. And they have a lot of things they implement in their classrooms, where I think I can't remember if it's China or another place, but I do want to think it's China, where the teachers do not clean the classrooms. Not the teachers, sorry, janitors do not clean the classroom, but I'm subject to correction with this. Um, but I think I did watch a video. I'm not sure if it's China. So I don't really want to speak on it, and I'm not sure. But where teachers, they do not really clean classroom, not teachers, sorry, I keep saying teachers. The janitors, they do not really clean the classrooms, but instead the students, because of the way that they are so disciplined, um, they are the ones who really take care of all that. And if we can have some of that here in the Western culture, where our students would really take up that role of being so disciplined that they would just help to maintain the tidiness of the classroom. Hi, Fana Varan. How are you doing, Fana Varan? Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you being here. Thank you. Where are you viewing from, Farah Varan? Tell us where you're viewing from. Thank you for being here and for really coming into our chat and all that. We appreciate you being here. And we hope that you are improving on your journey to learning English. How's that been for you? Thank you for being here. Right. So, like I was saying, guys, I just think that you can see discipline in those children in everything. And I like it that there's schools, even from kindergarten and so on. You see these children involved in doing certain things that here in the West, children may not do until they get to like higher forms. Like, for example, little cooking skills and different things you see them being really a part of, and all these things, a lot of fine motor skills, a lot of gross motor skills. I think it's really good empowerment for them. Yes, guys, so let's just read our text one more time and then we'll stop there for today. Thank you so much for reading with me. We have just passed the hour, and I hope that you guys have enjoyed it here today. Let's continue to read. When Anna arrived in, oh, guys, the marker is always getting me. I don't know if that's how happens to you guys whenever you're doing something. Sometimes there is this one thing that always gets to you. I think for me, it's this marker. It always gets to me. Let's go. Ready? Let's ready, go. When Anna arrived in China, she was struck by the respect Chinese classmates had for their teachers. Meanwhile, we found American classrooms to be both exciting and overwhelming. Guys, it was such a pleasure reading English with you today. And I hope that you guys would get to improve your English as you continue to practice. Keep practicing, work to your hardest level to ensure that you achieve your goal in reading English. Uh, Sometime soon, I'll try to do a podcast where we talk about strategies, how you can improve your reading in English, your pronunciation, vocabulary, your spelling, your comprehension, your grammar, how you can improve all aspects of learning how to read English or learning English language as a subject. So, guys, it was truly a pleasure reading with you, and I hope to see you guys reading again. Thank you so much for being here. And Fanavaran, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. And we thank you for all the love that you just show us there in the comment section. And guys, don't forget, just keep practicing. I'm sure that you would get to, you know, that place that you want to get to, or you would get to achieve whatever you hope to achieve in terms of your reading. So until soon again, I'll see you guys again on Read English 101. Don't forget you can participate by free talking with us. We appreciate you being here and we hope to see you again very soon. Whether you take us sometime as a way of, de-stressing, or you are just, being here as a OG subscribers, we thank you all OG subscribers, which means our original subscribers, those of you who were here a long time ago. We appreciate you. And those of you who silently watch us, for example, sometimes I know that our OG subscriber, Dry Rice, sometimes you're here silently watching us. We appreciate it. And any other OG subscribers, like today I saw my friend Slim Jim Longfoot was here too. And Slim Jim Longfoot, he is an original subscriber too. Thank you guys for always being here, for showing your love and your support to the channel. We appreciate it. And, we wish you the best as you continue to just live life, and you just be blessed by God, and may his riches reach you in every aspect of your life. So thank you guys so much for being here, and we'll see you again very soon. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, one and all. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Guys, I know you guys didn't know I can sing. That's a joke, guys. I can't sing, guys. I can read. And that's what we're here to do, read English 101. And we'll continue to read English.